Okay, so this is business 436, the Joanne Haywood case. This is the memo part of it. And just remember, this is a business memo, so your Professor York wants you to prepare it in the format of business memo. You took a look at those three videos that shows you different aspects to it. It's supposed to have 1-inch margins on each side. It's supposed to have a 2-inch margin from the top to the date right here. In this case, I did custom margins, and I did it a custom because the custom margin takes into account where you start. In this case, your name's up in the right. So what I had to do is I had to make this 1.6. No, excuse me, this 1.6 because the top margin is considered from here to there, and that made this down 1.6 inches. That made this 2 inches down when you do the custom margin formatting on Word. Okay, and then for a business memo, you have the date, you have to it's written to. Sometimes you also have the CC carbon copy. We don't have that here because we're just sending it to Gerald Harrison, the chairman of the board. So in this case, since we're running it to the chairman of the board, we have his name and his title. Then I put from Joanne Haywood, and then the subject or regarding RE. And when you do these, you always capitalize each word that isn't like a preposition or something. Like you don't capitalize of or is or at unless they're the last word in the subject, but you capitalize every other word. Then you start off with an introduction, and then after that you have basically the meat of the memo with the recommendations, conclusions at the end. So now we'll go through this. Um, Basically, we'll just read it real quick because it's actually a fairly short memo. Remember, this is from Joanne Haywood. I had a meeting with Dave Johnson. Remember, he's the sales VP. I didn't put sales VP on here because the chairman of the board should know who Dave Johnson is. I had a meeting with Dave Johnson last week to discuss the sales forecast for the quarter. In our meeting, Dave said that he is now forecasting sales to be 80% lower than the original sales forecast that he used for our third round of financing. Dave also said that he's unable to sell our product the same way that he planned to in his original forecast. Below are actions I am taking to increase sales and improve sales forecasting, as well as my recommendations to the board. Okay, action items. Immediate action items are as follows. We need to increase sales, and we need to improve our ability to forecast sales. Dave's initial forecast was too optimistic for the current sales environment, but missing the sales forecast by 80% is unacceptable. However, Dave has experience selling our product now, and he is the most knowledgeable person about what has to be done to increase sales and improve our sales forecast. Dave is the best person to create a new sales marketing plan to increase sales and improve sales forecasting. And B, we need to reassure investors, and I might change this heading, so if you see it a little bit different when you get it, don't worry about it. We need to reassure investors that we are taking the immediate corrective action. Removing the VP of sales so soon after his hiring would worry some investors. You know, he was just hired 3 months ago, right? Because this is the first quarterly board meeting after their third round of financing, and they hired him for the third round of financing. So firing your sales VP after 3 months doesn't look good. And she was only promoted to CEO after 3 months ago, so that doesn't look good either. And then it goes, so that would worry some investors. Of course, continuing to miss sales forecasts dramatically to the downside is a major concern to investors also. We need to assure investors that we have plans in place to increase sales. Okay. Point 2, new sales and marketing plan. I have instructed Dave Johnson to prepare a new sales and marketing plan. Dave will have it ready for the upcoming board of directors meeting. The new plan will contain specific actions to increase sales and to improve our sales forecast. The new plan will include updated sales forecasts and specific sales milestones. I will present the new plan to the board. Dave will not be accompanying me to the board meeting. Because remember when we spoke on the phone, another part of the plan is to also get an executive search firm hunting for a new VP in case his new sales plan does not work. You do not want to try to be presenting that to the board with Dave sitting there. Okay, then third, recommendations. I am recommending a two-pronged strategy. First, I will present Dave's new sales and marketing plan to the board for review. Since Dave has the most knowledge about what needs to be done to increase sales, we will implement Dave's plan immediately. This is the fastest way to increase sales. If sales increase satisfactorily by next quarter, we will stay with the plan and Dave will stay on as VP of Sales. Second, since the process to hire a new VP of Sales takes time, we need to contact an executive search firm to start a preliminary search for candidates for a new VP of Sales. If Dave's plans do not turn sales around, we need to replace Dave with a new VP of Sales. And then lastly, we should give the other directors advance notice of these matters so that they are prepared to discuss them at a board meeting. You want these guys to have time to think about this, because the last thing you want to be doing there is the CEO of the company is going, hey, our sales is 80% below what we forecast. You don't want to hit them with something like that. You want them to be able to have time to kind of think about it, and you give them warning up front, and so they'll be prepared to talk to you about it. And also, that you might be recommending that they look for a new sales VP also. Okay, so that was actually pretty short and sweet. It's just a basic memo. You just got to be a little bit more formal with it. You're supposed to cut out all the crap. You're supposed to be direct. You're supposed to propose things. You're not supposed to hem and haw about stuff. You're supposed to have absolute ideas about what you're going to do. Okay, hopefully you take a look through it. If you see any spelling problems, if you see any grammar problems, if you see something you don't like that doesn't sound right, let's work on it, and we'll readjust it, and then you can submit it. All right, bye.